Welcome to the Dr. Janine Show. I'm Dr. Janine Bowring, naturopathic doctor, and today I'm talking all about salt and the truth they don't want you to know. This is part 2. Last week we also talked about salt and the benefits of having salt, so we'll touch on that a little bit as well. But this week is really fun because I have a detox facial scrub recipe that I will show you. This is something that I've developed and it is fantastic for your skin and for that glowing, youthful look to your skin, and you can actually use it anywhere, of course on your face, but on other parts of your body as well. So stay tuned for that. I will also be discussing what your pee should look like. Yes, your urine, and how you know maybe you're overhydrating or you're not hydrating enough, and that has a lot to do with the salt balance in your body. I'm also going to be talking about weight loss, how this is related specifically for hormones and women, and what's going on with not being able to lose that extra body fat that you may be holding on to, and how salt is implicated in this. I'll be talking about salt caves as well. So this is very exciting, something that I like to do with the family and for the great benefits for your health. So I'll be talking about that. Make sure that you are following my team members. So Team Dr. Janine on social media, because we do have our trivia section coming up, which you know is such a fun part of the show towards the end of the show. And this week we are giving away from our sponsors a bottle of VitaDetox. So this is a full body detox. We will be talking about this throughout the show when we talk about the recipe for the beauty aspect. So this is something that, yeah, you have the ability to win this. So you just have to participate in the trivia part, the quiz part of the show. You don't have to get the answers right, but do your best. And we will randomly select from all of the participants to win the VitaDetox for this week. So it's a lot of fun. If you've not seen the show before, there's a lot of information, but it's pretty interactive as well. So if you are watching on whichever social media channel you're watching on, so we are on Instagram, hello, we're on TikTok as well, streaming live on YouTube and on Facebook as well. So please chime in at any time if you do have questions. I can't get to all the questions throughout the show. I do stay on live with my TikTok audience and my Instagram followers after the show to answer your questions. But if you've got questions as the show is going on and as you're thinking about them, just put them in the comment section, which is great. My team members are all behind the scenes, which you will meet someday, hopefully very soon. Some of them are a little bit shy, camera shy, but they are behind the scenes and they will be helping me throughout the show. They're streaming me questions. I've got someone in my ear. I've got, you know, my other questions being fed to me. So yeah, so do your best. I want to say hello really quickly. I know that Steve is here. Hello, Francis is here. Christian is here on TikTok. I do see my TikTok people here, so it's going to be a great show, and it's great to see you all. On YouTube, I have X, and on Facebook, Arletta is here, so thanks for tuning in, everyone. Okay, so let's get started. So what are some of the benefits of salt, more specifically for weight loss? Because you may have heard that, you know, consuming too much salt is going to make you retain more water, and this will hamper your weight loss goals. Well, it's true that a low sodium diet actually accelerates the decrease in heat production that normally occurs, especially when we're aging. So that increase in that thermogenesis, our body's ability to make that heat, is important because that essentially is making more of that brown fat. So we know that brown fat is metabolically active and turns those food energy calories into heat, and that's something that we do want more of. This is good. Helps to regulate our body temperature, is implicated with our thyroid, and in this study it actually showed that, you know, influence of sodium intake on that thermogenesis and that brown adipose tissue, which is that brown fat in the rat. And the data showed that increasing sodium intake is something that will increase that thermogenic capacity. And this is really important to note, that yes, we need to have enough salt in our diet to increase that fat burning potential that we all have. So people that have been, you know, restricting their salt, they thought that salt restriction was the better way to go in terms of weight loss and body composition. Well, definitely getting the right kinds of salt, which is, I talked a little bit about the different types of salt in last week's episode, so if you missed it, make sure you check it out. But getting, you know, adequate amounts of salt, especially in certain conditions, is very important for helping to lose that weight. And also we know that our skeletal muscles which also have that heat producing effect, are very much reliant on having enough salt. So we know that athletes really have to watch their salt consumption in the proper way and get enough of it, especially before an event or before a hard training, so that they can sustain those muscle contractions throughout the work that they do in terms of that exercise. So really important for athletes, but for all of us as well who aren't elite athletes, to maintain the proper salt status in our bodies. Now, I wanted to touch a little bit, because I know a lot of my female followers, I get a lot of questions around women and hormones, and how is this related? So as women, you've probably experienced this before your cycle, that you may crave some salt and the chips and the salty foods. And why is that? Well, because around ovulation, but also right before our cycles, when we are PMSing, our premenstrual time, when our estrogen will peak mid-cycle at ovulation, but then it's going to drop off again. We can see here, if you are watching on YouTube, you can see the chart, that ebb and flow of our estrogen and progesterone and the other female hormones. There's a certain cycle to this, and more particularly in the premenstrual time, this is often when we will crave that salt. And a lot of doctors will actually give the advice to watch your salt intake, avoid salt. Sometimes, women are actually given a water pill or a diuretic to help with their PMS symptoms, which in my opinion is completely opposite to what our physiology needs. We have a craving often for a reason, to supply a need to the body, and that little bit of salt is something that we actually need to help with that water retention to go the other way, so we're not actually retaining all of that water. So follow your cravings a little bit. You've got to follow your own body's intuition. When you crave that salt a little bit in your PMS time, indulge a little bit, and eat the right type of healthy salt, which is something I discuss in other videos, so make sure you check that out. You want to have that proper mineral balance, but a little bit of that sodium in the right way is going to actually help you to flush that water weight instead of holding on to it, which is crazy to think that, and actually helps in balancing the hormones as well. So and it's been found that when PMS women actually increase their salt intake, they can definitely prevent that water retention from happening. So this is something that, in pregnancy will happen as well. And making sure, and some doctors sort of did this the wrong way in pregnancy, and with a lot of water retention, you actually need a little bit more salt to maintain that proper fluid balance. So we're going to talk about, how would you know that you're getting enough hydration in just a moment. We can actually analyze your urine, your pee, and I'll give you some guidelines as to where you should really be at for that healthy, urine, and what it should look like to know that you're actually getting enough hydration, but also retaining enough salt. So we know that some of the benefits of salt, which we talked about last week, are definitely maintaining that proper hydration. We know that it helps to run our thyroid glands. So especially for people that are low thyroid, we have to make sure that we're getting enough salt. That contains iodine as well. We also know that we need salt for proper blood pressure and also for proper cardiovascular health. We know that our muscles require having enough salt. We know that salt has a lot to do with our insulin sensitivity. So for people who have difficulties with carbohydrates and balancing their blood glucose levels, you may be pre-diabetic or diabetic, having enough salt is really, really important. And often a sugar craving is because of a sodium deficiency. Yeah, I'll say that again. Sometimes a sugar craving is because of a sodium deficiency. If you satisfy that need with sodium, which is what your body's actually craving, then the sugar cravings can go away. So that's an important tip and hack for you if you crave carbs and sugar all the time, to make sure that you have enough salt in your daily diet. Also, constipation. So we know that salt water can actually help to move the bowels. So if you're very constipated, you may not be having enough healthy salt in your diet. And we know that we need the sodium chloride, the salt, to help with our stomach pH. So for people who have acid reflux because of not having enough of that salt in their body, it's really important to make sure that you're getting enough, so that it will help to, ensure that that is working in the right way for your health. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about pee. So how do we know that we're actually getting the proper amount of hydration? How do we know that we are getting enough salt to actually retain the water in our body? And I have a great demo now to show you. So I think I'm going to have my helper here. Thank you very much. There we go. Okay, so let me clean this up for you so that you can actually see what is going on. So we're going to go through the different ways that your pee could actually look, and this would be an indication. Now, we'll start here. So if you are urinating, and your urine basically is very clear, it looks like water, then you're drinking a lot of water. And that's a good thing, but you may be diluting and overhydrating and diluting your salt content in your body, meaning maybe you're not getting enough salt to actually retain that hydration, and that fluid is going right through you. So this is not necessarily where you want to be. This may be that you're overhydrated, too low in your salt content, and you have to up your salt and maybe cut back on the water a little bit. Okay, now let's go to the next one. So if it's looking, so if your urine, again, if you're just tuning in, you're wondering what's going on, I'm talking about what your urine should really look like. And if your urine looks like lemonade, so this is lemonade, then you're doing okay. You're probably pretty well hydrated, and you just continue to drink your water as normal. So this is probably, if I were to aim to have a healthy looking urine, and of course it may look a little bit more yellow than this. This is, from concentrate, not healthy lemonade. So the sugary stuff that I don't drink, but I bought it for demonstration purposes. Okay, so that's your lemonade. That's your commercial lemonade. Okay, so that's okay if your urine's looking like that, a little bit more tinged with yellow. So this is actual real lemon juice. Then this is great. Now you could drink. So if it's becoming a little bit more yellow like this and concentrated, you could drink a little bit more, maybe just a small glass of water, and that will help your hydration for that day. Now, if we're going towards orange juice, so this is a, popular, I should shake it a little bit so that color is, how you have to shake these a little bit. Okay, so that type of famous, orange juice, if your urine is starting to look a little bit of this sort of darker orangey yellow, then this would be an indication of dehydration. So you're in the moment, you're going to drink about a half a bottle of water, so a quarter of a liter, within an hour. And alternatively, you could drink, a whole bottle, a half a liter of water, especially if you're outside and you are sweating a lot. If you're in a hot climate, or definitely if you're in a sauna, and just before you got into the sauna and your urine was looking like this, then that would be a sign that you're already dehydrated going into exercise and your urine looked like this. So you really have to up your hydration, and of course ensuring that you're getting enough salt as well to compensate for that loss. Now, here we're getting into the danger zone. So this is honey. If your urine is looking like this, now you are very dehydrated, and this would be an indication that you need to drink at least a half a bottle of water, so a quarter of a liter immediately, and drinking, that whole bottle, half a liter to a liter, especially if you're outside and you will be perspiring more and you're going to be exercising. So that's really important as well. And now really into the danger zone. So if it's maple syrup looking, so very dark, and this would be, again, a little bit of an exaggeration. I don't think I've ever seen urine this, but just to give you a guideline, a little bit more diluted than what the maple syrup actually looks like here. But that would be an indication, again, that you are severely dehydrated. You need to drink at least 2 bottles of water, a liter of water immediately. And this is something that, definitely you're speaking to your doctor about if this is an ongoing thing, whether it's for you or your children, to ensure that you are, making sure that your kidney function is okay and that you are somehow getting on top of this dehydration problem. So our salt goes in along with this entire scenario in the ability for your body to hold on to that water. So if you're seeing anything, beyond what is, fairly normal in the middle of the spectrum here, then that's an indication that you want to look at tweaking what's going on with your hydration as well as your salt intake. So if you're just tuning in, I'm talking all about salt, the truth they don't want you to know about. This is part 2. I'm going to put this away because we have another demonstration coming up very soon with a great recipe for a beauty hack, and talking about what you can do and mix up at home on your own. So I don't know if that's going to help you. There we go. Thank you so much. Perfect. Okay, so hello. Ahmad, yeah, no, don't drink that. There's some funny commenting happening here on TikTok. Okay, so yeah, I see some good questions coming in as well, Miss Chris. So keep them coming in. We're definitely documenting everything as the show is going on. As I continue, so now I'm going to talk a little bit, I don't know if you've heard of or have experienced about salt caves, speleotherapy or halotherapy. So speleotherapy comes from the Greek word meaning cave, and this is a respiratory therapy involving breathing inside a cave. So this was something that it's believed, back from early European times. There's different, views as to where this started, whether it was Germany or in Poland. But we know that the ancient Greeks actually practiced salt-based remedies, and this is something that, was documented in terms of the inhalation of steam from salt water. Also, it's been said that in Germany this was started by Karl Hermann Spanagel, and this was in terms of the halotherapy and using the salt caves to be able to just go in and start to breathe in that environment was very healing to the lungs and helped with respiratory disorders as well. And there's a few claims in terms of the improvements of breathing in that air for miners that did work in salt caves. Even after the salt caves were closed, then the hospitals actually existed in Italy in the 19th century, where they would bring patients who had respiratory disorders and asthma into the caves just to breathe in the air that had the salt, which was inherently there, and that helped to clear up the lungs. So this is something that's very interesting in the literature, to know that this is something that, myself, I have been able to experience. So going back to Poland as well in the 1840s, a doctor found that the salt miners, when compared to, the average person, they were much healthier. And why was that? Well, the salt that filled the air had ultrafine particles that they were inhaling, and this really did help with respiratory problems. They also had very healthy skin, which is great for the health benefits and the beauty benefits of using salt, and that's why I'll be sharing my recipe today to use it topically. And he also found, in the Polish miners, that they rarely got sick and they had very strong immune systems. So this is when, doctors would start to send their patients into the mine shafts and really helped to, help their patients to get better, especially from asthma and the respiratory disorders. So it is called speleotherapy. More recently, it's called halotherapy, and it's something that you can definitely search out no matter where you live in the world and look it up. It's H-A-L-O. Halotherapy, for a place that does this. So the Russians are definitely famous for this as well. And what they were able to do is to devise something called a halo generator, and it's a device that basically takes salt and a high-grade pharmaceutical salt, grinds it down, and then pumps it into the air so that you're actually inhaling this. And so when I go, and I actually am going tonight with the family, I'm very excited to go to the salt cave tonight, and they have this halo generator that puts the salt. It's not perceivable. It's not like you can really see it. You can kind of taste it a little bit as you're inhaling it, but it's a great experience. It's awesome. So I want all of you who have the ability to go to a cave, a salt cave, to really experience this. And this really took off in Eastern Europe, and then of course in Russia. And right now Russia has over 1,000 salt rooms, which have been in operation close to and over 50 years now. So yeah, definitely check it out depending on where you're watching from, and see if you can find a salt cave in the area that you live. And this is something that, I didn't really know that was close to where I live. And a very good friend of mine said, hey, I want to take you somewhere. I'm like, okay, good. I trust her. And she said, yeah, we're going to go to the salt cave. So I'm picturing that I'm going into like the side of a mountain somewhere. I didn't know that we had that around where we live, fairly, southern Ontario in Canada. I wasn't aware of any caves, but maybe. So sure enough, it was a spa, and they had built the halotherapy room with the Himalayan Salt lamps, and it was fantastic. So it doesn't look exactly how it looks more like this one, and they had the salt, which is similar to this, the Himalayan salt, but they had bricks of it all along the walls, and of course it had the halo generator. So I'm actually going tonight, bringing the kids. It's great because it is an ideal source of those negative ions. So if you know about the salt lamps, so they are known to give off those negative ions. So as I turn mine on right here, which are very healing to the body, and this is something that it's odorless, it's tasteless, and invisible. But when you're inhaling this and those negative ions, like if you've been to a waterfall, when you go to the beach, that's why people feel really good and really healthy in those environments, and in salt caves as well, is because you're breathing in and absorbing on your skin those negative ions, which is great. It's also strong antibacterial. So the owner of the salt cave that I visited, she said that her own personal story, how she got into building the salt cave in her spa, was that she herself had chronic sinus issues, and she had I think a handful of surgeries on her sinuses, and the specialist said, we have to do another surgery, because, and then she learned about the halotherapy and the salt therapy, and she said, no, I'm not going to have another therapy. She started doing, the salt therapy, and was able to cure herself. So there is research behind the benefits of the salt cave. So we know that it's also very anti-inflammatory. In one study, it shows that it helps to loosen up the excessive mucus. So here we see the halotherapy for chronic respiratory disorders, from the cave to the clinical. So the halotherapy has been found to have a positive effect on patients suffering from chronic respiratory diseases, improving mucociliary elimination and lung function in common chronic respiratory diseases. So what that mucociliary, that's the mucus. So it helps, there's little cilia, little hairs that help to move the mucus out of the lungs, out of the respiratory tract. And you cough them up, and that's actually what you experience if you do have any sort of congestion in the lungs that you may not even know. It could be just from modern living in a toxic world, that you've inhaled a lot of toxins, that you start to cough a little bit when you are in the salt cave. Your nose starts to run a little bit. It's very fascinating, and it's really great. It's great for chronic ear infections. That's one of the reasons I'm bringing the kids tonight, because being in the pool all summer and swimming in lakes and things, that they're a little bit more prone to getting the swimmer's ear. So they're fine now. They say they're fine, but I'm hoping that the salt cave, because it is very antibacterial, just from that exposure in the air to the salt, will really help. Now, it's also known to help to remove pathogens like pollens and things. So salt caves, you won't find pollen there. So for allergy sufferers, could be really great, in terms of decreasing that exposure to those allergens. Also reduces the IgE levels, which is an immune system oversensitivity. And the salt particles, they do penetrate deep into the lungs and can treat those damaged lung tissues. So this can really help people symptomatically for up to 12 months following that salt therapy. So studies have also been done on asthma, people who suffer with COPD, and chronic bronchitis. So I really want you to look into this. Find a salt cave close, and there are hundreds in the US now, and we're getting more and more in Canada, but certainly if you live in Europe, Russia, different parts of the world, these are, you know, in the land, so you can visit them and really have a positive effect. But you'll find them in a lot of healing spas as well. So the great thing about the halotherapy in the skin is that the salt actually will deposit on, and those particles, which are ultra fine, will deposit on the skin, has an effect on the activity of the skin ion channels, and can stimulate the regeneration of healthy cells. So hello, when we're talking about beauty benefits of salt, I mean, this is really, really fantastic. And this can also alter the pH and the flora of your skin. So if there are some bad bacteria or fungal issues, this can be really helpful in inflammation. It's known to be definitely linked. So we know that in traditional Chinese medicine that our skin and our lungs are definitely linked. So healing the lungs helps to heal the skin and vice versa as well. And in one study, it actually showed the help for psoriasis and an improvement of 65%. So we can hear the hygienic characteristic and effectiveness of the application of natural sylvanite screens for combined treatment of patients presenting with vulgar psoriasis. So this is the halotherapy in the treatment of this particular type of invasive psoriasis makes it possible to achieve clinical remission in 65% of the patients. That's a huge percentage. So, and it's very natural, of course, and that's why I, you know, love sharing natural information, because then we can think of other respiratory conditions and viruses and things happening in the world right now, that this could be a real adjunct and a helpful therapy as well. So just think of that as well. Okay, so hello on YouTube, Joanna and Marie. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in. It's great to have you all here. I know that somebody here from North Carolina. Hello, hello. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you are enjoying the show. This is the Dr. Janine Show. And now we're going to get into the beauty recipe, which is awesome. So this is going to be something that you can easily do for yourself, for your own beauty routine, and it's a detox salt facial scrub. So this is something that I will tell you exactly how to mix this up, and thank you very much. And then I will show you on my hand how you can do this. Now you can use this anywhere on the body. Now, of course, for the face, very beneficial, not only because it will help, you know, with the complexion of your skin, but also helping with your skin barrier function, helping with your actual, the microflora on your skin as well. Now, if you've got acne and other conditions happening, psoriasis, rosacea, this can be really helpful as well. So what you're going to do, and I've already pre-mixed mine up, I did this most recently. So what you're going to do is mix up 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And I didn't have the solid state coconut oil, you know, the one that changes consistency at different temperatures. So at a cooler temperature, it'll be more white, and at a higher temperature, it will melt down. So I only had the liquid one, which I tend to use a lot with my beauty recipes. So I used the liquid coconut oil. So this would have a little bit of a different consistency had I used, and it's a little bit cool in here, had I used the other one. But either type of coconut oil is fine. So 2 tablespoons of the coconut oil, and I promise we will share this recipe. I will, you know, do a video specifically on TikTok for all my TikTok viewers. We'll do a separate video as well on Facebook and YouTube, and also on Instagram. We will be posting the recipe in, you know, in hard copy form. Is that how you say it? No, that's not how you say it. But anyways, in print form on Instagram. So don't worry about that. Okay, so that you'll have the recipe, and then you can, you know, and I can go through it in my lives as well, and you can sort of screenshot the recipe if I plan ahead enough to print it out for you. Okay, so 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 4 tablespoons of the Himalayan salt. So I just added that in. And then I added some Frankincense Essential Oil. Now, Frankincense Essential Oil is very healing, and it's known to draw impurities out of the areas that you place it on, and it smells So good. So I used 10 drops of that frankincense. And then I opened up 4 capsules of the Detox. So that is the full body detox that we will be drawing for. So you have the ability to win the Detox, the VitaDetox. So yeah, so make sure that you stick around because that trivia section of the show is coming up and you'll be able to win the Detox. So I just opened up the 4 capsules, and that's why it looks quite, muddy, or that's actually from the herbs from the Detox, and that will help to draw. It also has chlorella in it, which will help to draw impurities out of the skin. So you're just going to mix that in a glass sealable container. So this is just like a little mini mason jar that you can easily find in the store. And all you're going to do now is place it. Now I'm not going to put it on my face right now because I have all of my makeup on, but you're just going to place that on your skin, and you're not going to necessarily rub it in. So you're just going to place it, and yep, some of it will kind of slough off a little bit. So just be careful around the eyes area, on your forehead. It's okay, but you don't necessarily want to get this in your eyes. And you're going to leave that on. Now, here's the great thing. You can leave it on for just 2 minutes if it's got to be like a quick beauty hack, before you go out the door, you're getting ready to go out, or leave it on a little bit longer. So you could leave it on up to, 15 minutes or longer. It's completely up to you. But what I like to do now when it is time and I'm like, okay, that's good, it's ready. Certainly the longer you leave it on, the more of those impurities it will help to draw out of the skin. But yeah, that's totally up to you. But now what I do now as I'm rinsing it off, so I would be doing this really, with my water running in the sink, is I'm going to use it sort of like an exfoliant as I'm rinsing it off to really get off any dead skin cells and to really have that sort of buffing effect to the skin. Now, certainly if you've got a skin condition happening and you can't be aggressive with, and depending where the skin is on your body, you can't be aggressive with that, then you're not going to want to rub too hard. So, use your discretion. But I just want to show you my skin after doing that process, and that wasn't even 2 minutes. That was probably it was on there maybe 30 seconds, or I don't know. But you can see, I don't know if you can see, just see how my skin is just kind of glowing. I don't know if you can tell. It's hard to see in this light. And the recipe will also be in the show description, so that will help you. But yeah, it just gives and the way that your skin feels, I can't wait for you to try this. It's incredible. So there we go. So that is something that you will see, this show will live live. After the live, it will live on YouTube, so that all that description will be there for you so that you have the entire recipe. Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's... Okay, we're at the fun section now. Not that wasn't fun. So I hope that you're enjoying the show. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. Now we are at the quiz section of the show. So I hope everybody is ready. Is everybody ready? I hope you watched last week's show, because that is often where I pull my questions from to see if you have been paying attention. And I know a lot of you take notes and things, which is really fun. Okay, so are we ready? Oh, I see there's a ton of questions here. Bobby Barrick, thank you for tuning in. This is great. User 67. Francis, you're back. That's good. Okay, yes, and don't pour salt. I see user 674. Don't pour salt on wounds unless you want to hear somebody suffer. That's true. Okay, are we ready? This is the quiz section. Remember, we are playing for the Detox, which is the full body detox. This is what I actually mixed into the facial scrub recipe. So you have the ability to win. Again, you don't have to get the answers correct when we do the trivia section of the show. Just put in your answers. I've got my team behind the scenes. They are documenting. Make sure you are following Team Dr. Janine. That's really important on the different platforms, so that if you are the randomly chosen winner who's picked, that we can actually reach out and find you a lot more easily. Sometimes it's difficult. We have a winner and we can't reach you because you're not following. So follow Team Dr. J9 on the platforms, so that, especially on TikTok and Instagram as well, so we can reach out to you. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. Question number 1. True or false? Low salt intake can have a negative effect on thyroid health. It's a double negative. Low salt intake can have a negative effect on thyroid health. True or false? Wow, we got fast people. Steve, Francis, users Spiffy, good, adorable, Caldwell, cutie, Allison Magnus, Aisha. Good job, everyone. That was really... Joanna on YouTube, Raina on Instagram, good job. Arletta's here as well, Virginia on Instagram, Nadia on Instagram, Blanche on Instagram, yeah? Yeah, a lot of new people, a lot of new names that I haven't recognized from before. Denise, good job on YouTube. Okay. Anybody else? Homeboy, thanks for tuning in. This is the Dr. Janine Show, so thanks everybody for tuning in. Martin, bad news. Pat, thanks for joining. Harvey, good try. Okay, the answer is true, yes. So if you don't have enough salt, this can negatively affect your thyroid health and your metabolism and everything going on with your thyroid. So making sure that you're getting enough is very important. Okay, question number 2. Give an example of someone who would require more salt than normal. Give an example of someone who would require more salt than normal. Like, what would they be doing? They would need more salt. This is something that we talked about last week. Tracy, yeah, that was quick, good. Adorable 7. Yes. Liz Rock, good. Francis, good job. User Spiffy, yes. Kathy on Instagram, good job. Virginia on Instagram, good job. Allison, good job. Christian, good job. B-Turf, good job. Raina, hello. Hi, Raina. Nice to see you. Yes, good job. Aisha, yes. That's a good answer. Very, very good answer. Anybody else? Yes, Joanna on YouTube. Good job. Anybody else? 22 caliber 1. Thanks for joining. Anybody else? Nadia? Oh, Nadia has 3 examples on Instagram. Woohoo, Nadia. And they're all correct. Awesome. B. Turpin, good job. Anybody else? Blanche also has it on Instagram. Wow, a lot of smarties on Instagram. Good job. Arletta, yes. Yes, Denise, that's a great answer on YouTube. And Arletta's answer is very good as well. Okay, so great examples. Everybody who, shared your examples, and some ones that I didn't even have on the list. So somebody who wants to lose weight, may need more salt if you are in a hot climate, if you're perspiring a lot, if you're exercising, athletes. I didn't hear keto. Anybody doing keto or carnivore type of diet? So that one we missed, but that's very important. So if you're getting off of the carbs, and often people will have slow bowels and become constipated when you start to go keto or a keto-ish type of lifestyle, make sure that you're upping your healthy salt intake. Okay. Question number 3, true or false? Weight gain can be caused by inadequate salt consumption. Weight gain can be caused by inadequate salt consumption. Question number 3, true or false? Christian, very fast, good. Francis, good. B. Turpin, user Spiffy, Raina, Allison, is it Allison Magnus? Yes. Aisha, good. Tracy, H30. Kathy on Instagram. Virginia. Arletta, good job on Facebook. Joanna, good job. Blanche, Nadia on Instagram, good job. Anybody else? Leon, hi. I don't know if that's in another language and you know the answer, but yeah. I need a translator for multiple languages. Anybody else? Okay. Yes, the answer is true. So weight gain can be caused by inadequate salt consumption. True, true, true. So you have to be mindful of, and remember looking back at the different types of urine, where you're at, if you're overhydrating, or if you're not hydrating it enough, that could be part of the equation as well. Okay, question number 4. What is a concern with regular table salt? I have mentioned numerous concerns last week. But what is a concern with regular table salt? You just have to give me one, but if you've got more, you can tell me. Oh, okay, Francis. Francis, you speak Japanese? That was true? Thank you. Good job. From Leon. Hi is true. Awesome. Thank you. I learned some Japanese today. Okay, so Steve has an answer. Caldwell, Cutie, Christian. Yep, anybody else? Kathy on Instagram has an answer. What's the concern with regular table salt versus, I should clarify that, versus, other types of ingested salt, like Himalayan or Celtic or sea salt? What's the concern specifically with regular table salt? Christian, good. Rose on Instagram, good job. Biterpin, yes. Nadia has it on Instagram. Yeah, Liz. Nadia has 2 examples. Whoa, Nadia is a very good student. Gee, nice. Reina, good job. Yeah, Francis, you are a woman of very many talents. Yes, Francis, good. Caldwell Cutie, great question. It depends. Yep. Biterpin, yes. Tracy H30. Okay, so lots of good answers here. Anybody else on Arletta? Yeah. Good, good, good. Joanna, good. Oh, Marie's here on YouTube as well. Nice to see you. Good, good, good. Okay, so one of the concerns is microplastics. Dextrose, so sugar, can be in table salt. Actually, most times it probably is. Aluminum as well, which we know is a heavy metal. Heavy metal toxins. Potassium iodide is the less natural form of iodine. So when it says iodized table salt, which is supposed to be helpful for thyroid function, amongst other things, it's not necessarily whole food natural iodine. So these are some of the concerns with regular table salt. And guess what? When you eat out, what kind of salt are they using? Unless you're at a very high-end restaurant, they're using the usually run-of-the-mill table salt. So yeah, just to be aware of some of these things. Okay, and question number 5. So our last quiz question for this week. True or false? Celtic salt typically is lower in sodium than regular table salt. True or false? Thank you, user. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Official Christian. Good job, user Spiffy. Oh, Bill. Okay, user Bill. Thank you, because I can't see that on this version on my tablet. Bill, good job. Okay, anybody else? Celtic has less sodium than table salt. Virginia has it. Good. Steve's got good answers. Tracy as well. Robert Trondo, thank you. Trotundo, thank you for tuning in. Biterpin, I'm so glad. That's great. Good. Good, good, good. Life Yonder, good job. Bill, good, good, good. Anybody else? Arletta, good job. And Joanna, good job. So the answer is true. So Celtic salt typically has less sodium than regular table salt. So an interesting fact. If you did miss my show from last week all about salt, and then I broke down, Himalayan versus Celtic versus table salt versus sea salt, please, and some of the, advantages and disadvantages of each type of salt, make sure you check out last week's episode. That was part 1. This is part 2 that we talked about today. And I talked all about salt, the truth they don't want you to know. So I hope that you learned something new. Please give me a big thumbs up. Send me all those gifts that you can on TikTok. It's so much fun when you do that. Please be sure to share this content as well. So whether it's this video, the lives, any of my content, I really do appreciate whenever you share it to let more people know about the fact, that we can do a lot for our health and to do it in a natural way. If you're new to my channel, welcome in. I am Dr. Janine. Please make sure that you subscribe on all platforms, and especially the platform that you're watching from. And if you do have questions or comments, we always welcome them. So whether it's myself personally that answers the questions, my team members also help me, please do put them in the comment section below. And there's no such thing as a bad question, so I appreciate all of the feedback that you give me as well. And remember to always take good care of your health and do it naturally. Thanks for watching today.